Hi students, very good morning. Today in this lecture we are going to deal regarding the elevation in boiling point. So before going into this content, we should know what is meant by colligative property. Already in one of the lectures I have said that colligative property is that property of the solution which depends upon the number of particles. Okay, it depends upon the number of the solute particles but not upon the solvent, but not on the nature of the solute particles. Clear? So colligative property is that property which depends upon the number of the solute particles and not on the nature of the solute particles. In the same way, we are having four colligative properties in this chapter. One is RLVP, relative lowering of vapor pressure. Already we have completed that one. But see students, vapor pressure is not colligative property. Relative lowering of vapor pressure is colligative property. In the same way, boiling point is not colligative property. Elevation in boiling point is colligative property. In the same way, you have two more conditions. One is osmotic pressure and depression in freezing point. Okay. First, let us understand what is meant by boiling point. Boiling point, it has been said that the temperature at which the vapor pressure exhibited by a component is equal to the outside atmospheric pressure, then that temperature is called as boiling point. So you are having a container. Okay. You have taken one liquid here. From outside, let us take surrounding atmosphere is equal to pressure is equal to 1 atmosphere. Vapors are getting into the air and they are hitting on the wall of the container, so that they are exerting something like pressure like 0.6 atmospheres. Now what you should do, if you want to increase the pressure of the inside one, you will be heating this one, right? So if you go on heating at one, you will be getting more number of vapors inside, and this vessel also will be getting heated. Let me assume that at some 60 degrees, whenever this container has reached 60 degrees by heating, what this pressure is equal to 1 atmosphere. What I am doing is basically at normal temperature, let me think the 0.6 atmospheres is at 25 degrees centigrade. Here I am repeating, I am taking a container, I am taking a liquid component in this. It is generally getting evaporated and it is exerting 0.6 atmospheres pressure. But outside atmosphere is 1 atmosphere. Now what I am doing is I am trying to increase the pressure of this particular component inside the vessel to 1 atmosphere, so that I have started heating this container. So whenever I have heated the container up to 60 degrees, then the pressure exerted by these molecules is equal to 1 atmosphere. Means you see, now the inside atmosphere exhibited by the component is equal to the pressure exhibited by the outside atmosphere. Means 1 atmosphere, 1 atmosphere. This has come, means the pressure exhibited by the inside one component molecules is equal to the pressure exhibited by the atmosphere. And this pressure is exhibited at 60 degrees centigrade. So this temperature is called as boiling point of this particular component. Okay, I hope that you have understood, students. Now, if you plot a graph with respect to pressure, vapor pressure as well as the temperature. So if you are having only one component, it will be getting easily evaporated. At some particular temperature it will be getting evaporated. Okay, so that you will be getting the graph like this. Suppose if I add some solute particles, what happens? It occupies some surface. So if this is only water, if you think. Now what I am doing, I am adding some sugar particles to this. What happens? The vapor pressure individual was 0.6. Now what happens? It decreases somewhat, some to 0.4. Now to exhibit this inside solution, 1 atmosphere, you should heat more than 60 degrees. Something like you will be getting 80. Okay. So that what happens? At 80 degrees, by adding solute particles which are non-volatile, the vapor pressure of the individual component has been decreased. Okay, so that to increase that vapor pressure, we are still more increasing to attain the outside atmospheric pressure. So what happens now? The temperature should be increased, right? So this is the graph what you can get for solution 1, and if you add still more substance, for this is for solvent, this is for solution 1, and this is solution 2. Solution 1 and solution 2 are the same, but number of particles in this are more, so that the temperature will be still more increased. Okay, so the graph will be obtained like this. So if I draw a line like this, constant one, P naught for A, this is for pure solvent, you have got a T naught, P naught for B, you have got a temperature T2, T1, P naught for C, you have got some temperature T2. Means the temperature is going on increasing. So A naught is for pure component. At T naught is the temperature where you will be getting the boiling point, and D is the point where you will be having P1 pressure, and E is the point where you will be having P2 for the solution 2. So if you see here, the triangle like ABD is similar to ACD, ACE. So ABD is similar to ACE. Okay. So AC by AB, okay, should be equal to AE by AD. Okay. AC you can write it as this. AC you can write it as T2 minus T naught. AB you can write it as T1 minus T naught. By this one, AE, this is AE. Okay, P2 minus P naught, or P naught is the biggest one, P naught minus P2, and AD, P naught minus P1. See, you can write it as delta T2 by delta T1. Here, delta P2 by delta P1. Simply you can write it as delta T is proportional to delta P. Okay. And you know, according to Raoult's law, already we have solved once. P naught minus Ps by P naught. This is what? Relative lowering of vapor pressure. It is equal to mole fraction of the solute. And mole fraction of the solute you can write it as weight of the solute by molecular weight of the solute into molecular weight of the solvent by weight of the solvent. And if you send P naught this side, what happens? This P naught comes here. Okay. So in this entire context, this can be written as P naught minus Ps can be written as delta P. In this entire context, we are having some things in common, which is constant value. So P naught is common and molecular weight of A is common. So that WB by MB into WA, 1 by WA, is the proportional one. So delta T is proportional to delta P. That is what we have got the above condition. And delta P, this is the value, you know, this one will be taking here, WB by MB into 1 by WA. These two are constants. Okay. Delta T. So for removing the proportionality, you are taking that with K, WB by MB into 1 by WA, and it is written as K. Delta K is equal to K into M. See, this is like molality. Okay. If you take this one in kgs. Now what I am doing is, I am taking everything in grams. WB by MB, this one I am taking it as 1. WA, this one I am taking it as 1 gram. Then what does it indicate? 1 mole of solute is present in 1 gram of solvent. Okay. So 1 mole of solute is present in 1 gram of the solvent. Then delta T will be equal to K. If you take W weight of the solvent for 1 gram, then this is called as elevation constant. If you take it for 100 grams, means instead of 1 gram, this number of moles are same. Number of moles of solute is same. If you take here, it is 100 grams. Then delta T will be equal to what? 100 times of K prime. Instead of K, you are writing as prime. 100 grams you are taking into M. Molality. Okay. K prime is called as molecular elevation constant, because this will be calculated for 100 grams. Elevation constant for 1 gram. And if you take for 1000 grams, that is WB by MB is equal to 1, WA is equal to 1000 grams, then delta T is equal to 1000 into KB into M. So instead of K prime here, you will be representing with KB into M. KB is called as molar elevation constant, means you are taking 1 molar of the substance. That is called as molar elevation constant, or it is also called as ebullioscopic constant. This is what majorly we will be using. If they ask molecular elevation constant, you should go for this. Elevation constant means you will be going for this one. Means weight of the solvent, it is taken as 1 gram. Okay. And KB, whatever the molar elevation constant or ebullioscopic constant is present, it has one more value, that is RTB square by 1000 into LV, or RTB square by delta H vaporization. R is nothing but universal gas constant, TB is the boiling point of that particular solvent, and LV is the latent heat of vaporization per gram. If you want it for mole, if you multiply LV into molecular weight of that substance, then you will be getting delta H. Means molecular weight means for 1 mole only, no? So amount of heat liberated when 1 mole of the substance gets into vapor, it is called as heat of vaporization. So delta H can be written as latent heat of vaporization, this is per gram, into molecular weight. If you will be doing, then you will be getting enthalpy per mole of a substance. Okay. By keeping this value here, you can get the answer. So KB, one more formula is RTB square by 1000 into LV, or RTB square by delta H vaporization. Okay. Right, let us take some questions and solve this. First question. 18 grams of C6H12O6 is dissolved in 1 kg of water. Means solvent he has given 1 kg. and solute has been given as 18 grams. Find the boiling point of the solution. Okay, boiling point of the pure water. Already he is telling water is, he is not asking delta T, he is asking the boiling point, combining with this one. Boiling point of pure water is 373 Kelvin. Kb means that the biloscopic constant is given as 0.52 into K into kg per mole. K is nothing but Kelvin. So delta T B is equal to Kb into M. This is the equation. So what you can write? Kb is been given as 0.52. This is the major formula, right, students? Delta Tb is equal to Kb into M. Okay, Kb is equal to 0.52 and M is equal to number of moles of solid by mass of the solvent. Moles is nothing but weight by molecular weight, 18 by 180. If you take in terms of solvent kg, so here he has given as 1 kg, so nothing problem, so it is 1. So what happens? 18 by 180, so it becomes 0.1. Okay, 1 by 10, 0.1. So we will be getting what? 0.52 into 0.1. It is 0.052. What is this? This is delta Tb value. What is the question now? Boiling point of the solution. He is asking this Tb. So delta Tb, you know that Tb minus T naught B. Tb minus T naught B pure substance. How much you are having? 373. Delta T, how much you got? 0.052. Okay, then Tb will be equal to 373.052 Kelvin. Okay. Next question. 6 grams of urea and 9 grams of glucose are dissolved in 300 grams of water. Find the boiling point of the solution. Pure H2O boiling point is 100 degrees centigrade, where Kb of H2O is 0.52 Kelvin kg per mole. Okay. Don't think that you are having two substances, because it does not depend upon the nature of the particle. Already we have said it depends only on the number. So calculate the number of particles of urea. Number of particles of urea means weight by molecular weight, 6 by 60. Urea weight is 60. And glucose 9 by 180. Glucose C6H12O6, molecular weight is 180 and weight is this one. So total number of particles are nothing but number of particles of urea plus number of particles of glucose, 6 by 60 plus 9 by 180. So that you will be getting 0.15 mole. And you know that formula delta Tb is equal to Kb into M. Delta Kb is equal to 0.52 and this one is N into weight of the solvent. N you have got 0.15 into 1000 by 300. This is the weight of the solvent. As you are having in grams, convert that into kgs, 1000 by 300, so that you will be getting 0.26. Tb, already in the same way what you have done here, delta T plus T naught B, delta Tb plus T naught B, you have got something like delta T naught pure is given as 100 degrees, 100 degrees plus 0.26, so that you will be getting 100.26 degrees centigrade. Okay, that is the temperature of the solution where it gets evaporated and where the pressure will be equal to the outside atmospheric pressure. That is the boiling point of the solution. And the last question for this session. The question is like this. In a solution, 3.3 grams of non-volatile solute he is mentioning is dissolved in 125 grams of benzene. Okay. A boiling point of benzene is equal to 80 degrees. The boiling point of the solution is 80.66 degrees. Means he has given this Tb, delta Tb. One is 80, one is 80.66. Okay. If Kb for the benzene is 3.28 Kelvin kg per mole, okay, he has given Kb also, Kb value he has given. Find the molecular mass of the non-volatile solute. Pause the video, students, and try to solve it. You will be getting the approximately very near answer. Find out that. 1, 2, 3. I am going to explain, students. Right, I hope that you have got the answer. Delta Tb is equal to Tb minus T naught B. Already if you calculate 80.66 minus 80, you will be getting 0.66. And you know that delta Tb is equal to Kb into M. So it is equal to delta Tb value you have got 0.66 is equal to Kb. Kb is equal to 3.28 into this M. M is nothing but number of moles, right? Number of moles by weight of the solvent. Number of moles is, you have weight, molecular weight, you don't know. You should find out that. Weight is 3.3 grams by molecular weight into 1000 by, what is the weight here? So it is 125 grams. Sorry, this is 125 grams only, right? So it is 125 grams. Okay, so that molecular weight, if you calculate, you will be getting 131.2 gram per mole. This is how you will be solving, so the answer will be big. This is what for today's students. This is one of the colligative property, and then the next lecture we will be going with respect to depression in freezing point. After that, osmotic pressure and Van Hoff factor with respect to electrolytes. See, whatever we are talking, the solute particles all till the ending, till I say Van Hoff factor, those are all Non-electrolytes means they will not get dissociated, they will not get associated. Suppose you are taking 20 particles of glucose, but on adding to the solution there will be only 20 particles. Okay, don't take NaCl, because if you add NaCl to the solution, what happens? If you add 20 particles of NaCl, you will be getting 20 Na plus 20 Cl minus, means total number of particles are 40 now. Okay, regarding that content we will be dealing again in the Van Hoff factor. Till then we will be dealing only with respect to the non-electrolytes, means the number of particles whatever we are adding, they will not associate or dissociate whenever they are added to the solvent. Okay, such type of particles which does not dissociate or associate when added to the solvent, those type of particles are called as non-electrolytes. Okay, they will not conduct electricity. Okay students, this is what for today. Prepare well for the exam, go through the questions whatever that you have in your material. Have a nice day. Bye bye.